Hello and welcome to this quick video. This video is to let you know about something that you may have seen already, but it's something that I've been playing with and quite impressed with. This is one of those cool little projects that gets created by somebody in the community, and it's just a piece of fantastic. Now this is the WS OSD PY. I'll put a link down to this address in the description below, and this thing overlays the on-screen display stuff when you are playing back Walksnail. A lot of the older Walksnail videos that you may have seen that shows the on-screen display, if in the top right hand side of the image you can see the kind of record icons and the SD card kind of clipping away, what that's doing is typically they're recording the HDMI output from the goggles into a HDMI recorder. However, with the latest version of the firmware in Walksnail, it actually saves the OSD. Now, if we look on the SD card, straight out the goggles, you can see, for example, that now for each recording, there's 3 files. There's the actual video file itself, an MP4 file. There's one called .osd, that's the OSD file, surprise, surprise. And there's one called the SRT file. That's the one we've had for quite a while. That is the one that includes all of the information that appears on the bottom of the screen if you're not running something like iNav or Betaflight or even Adhere Pilot these days. These older recordings down here were recorded with the old software, and you'll see if you only have the video itself and an SRT file, then you update to the latest and greatest versions of the firmware for the goggles, you'll get the OSD file as well. And by having all these 3 files together, this piece of software will smush them all together and make them work. Now, at the moment, it isn't quite released. It's on release 0.90 beta. It's been out for, or beta, depending on how you want to say it. It's been out for about 2 weeks. You can just click in here. Definitely, if you're using this and watching this video, click on this link. I already have and sent this guy enough for a cup of coffee. This stuff is what makes the hobby for me so much fun. There's this zip file here. If we click and download that, then once it's downloaded, just unzip the contents in a directory and you're pretty much ready to go. So here on the desktop, that is the contents of that zip file. That's all you get. So what you have is you have a number of font files that you can load into it in a minute. We'll see those in a sec. And we have the 3 files. So the SRT, we have the video file, and we have the on-screen display file as well. So those are the 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to run the file called WS OSD Gen. On your computer, it might come up and give you lots of warnings about, antivirus software and things like that. Hopefully, as it gets more used, the antivirus software and protection in Windows will work. And on slower machines, it takes a little bit of time, but then it'll eventually burst into life and look a bit like that. That little extra screen will continue to chatter away in the background, kind of similar to how Mission Planner works. So what we need to do here is by dragging in the video file, it will automatically find the SRT and the OSD file, which is great. And then it doesn't do anything. That's because you have to tell it which OSD file that you want, the font path. It will be good at the moment. I guess this is why it's not quite out, if it kind of prompted you. So what you've got to do is go in here and use one of the HD fonts. I'm going to use the Adhere Pilot one, drop it in. It'll say it's recognized as a HD font. And then what you need to do is just use these offsets to kind of position the on-screen display where you want it. And by changing the fonts, obviously that's going to change how it all looks. Let's just continue to move it all across. Okay. So then you have the main OSD things that's here in the middle. You've also got the subtitle stuff, which is about the bit rates and stuff like that. I'm going to turn that off because I don't like it in my stuff. That's just going to give me the on-screen display pieces. And then once that's done, I'm going to turn off hardware acceleration. It's experimental at the moment and it can be tricky on this laptop. And I'm going to hit render video with OSD, and then it'll just sit and chunk away. And it can take some time. Faster machines are going to get there an awful lot quicker. And again, I think some of the fonts here just need a bit of tweaking, but this is something I'm keeping a very close eye on. So when it's all finished, the video looks like this. And this is very similar in terms of how it looks to how it appears in my goggles. My top tip when you're playing with this stuff is to download the additional fonts that are linked here in all of this stuff. If you scroll down, there's this link here to sneaky FPV stuff, and in here there are some fantastic fonts for WS OSD for the DJI hack, for Walksnail and HD0. Now I've been using the iNav fonts in here, and I've been using the latest version of them in the demo that you've just seen. There are 3 different font types. You can download and try them all out. They are fab, and I would use them over the ones that come in the app default. It definitely pays to come in here, download these, and then use them with the app. Cool thing to download and have a play with, but also if you are playing with it and having fun with it, do kick that person back a couple of bucks. It just says thank you. So I just thought you'd be interested in this thing. I'd like to feature more of this stuff on the channel, because to be honest, this is the kind of stuff that for me makes it really, really interesting. I love the kind of amazing technology that we get our hands on essentially for free. So links down below if you want to go and have a play with this, and hopefully, fingers crossed, version 1 will be out soon, but this is such a cool tool. Thank you for spending your time today watching that video. You can find me in all the usual places on social media, and if you're trying to learn about a subject, then check out the playlist. All of my videos are organized into easy to follow playlists that if you're trying to learn a topic will take you from the basics right the way through to some pretty advanced stuff.